Oh, there you are, Odo. No, that I am. What kept you, my dear fellow? I don't know. The courtroom? Hello, Mr. Sholm and Gina. You're surely about what you're saying there. That's the boss, you know. Actually died the day before. It's pretty hard to jolly. Yes. I was shocked by the revelation too, Gina. So was I. Possibly more shocked than both of you. It's not competition, Mr. Sholmes. But I was more shocked than all of you put together. You said autopsy report in question, isn't it? Yes, it's strange that there is no time for that about it. I suppose there's a simple explanation. Perhaps it was deliberate admission. Oh dear. Was deliberate? It was me in mind the last case we worked on Dr. Society. I know. Anyway, it seems that before Lord Van Zisk discovered his body, Inspector Gregson was investigating the Red Hat League, so perhaps something happened with them. Come to think of it. Or just a charade? Well, I traveled with those League men too, didn't you, Mr. Shaw? You were taken in by their trick? No. Naturally, I wasn't taken in, as you put it. My sleuth-hound interest was merely piqued slightly by Ray's scent of a weekly £4 income. The scent masked the underlying scent of deception, I suppose. The criminal in question are pair we saw being arrested yesterday, aren't they? So they were scamming red-headed gingers? Mr. Sweden. That's right, Susie. It was me who took him. And I'll take it to the tip of a by good and law-abiding citizen. Indeed, yours truly. So it's going to be a pair at the witness stand next, is it? Something doesn't quite make sense to me though. Maybe before Inspector Gregson was found, you hadn't had trouble with the Red-Headed League yet, had you? Or would the Inspector have been investigating them? Well, his likely explanation would be the Gregson own sleuth-hound interest was piqued by the race sense of a weekly £4 income. Don't tire my with the same brush as you, James. Yes, well, then there's the whole issue of Inspector Gregson being investigated by Lord Van Zisk for some reason. The Reaper, the Red-Headed League, Inspector Gregson, Lord Van Zisk. And cousin. What if he knew we arrived at this point somehow? Gosh, I think you're right. What's he really trying to achieve here today? Everything is being planned. Well, the answer will soon be revealed. Observe the time, my dear fellow. Observe the time. This recess will be over shortly. Oh, yes, you're right. Vamonos. Kazuma was determined that he should be the one to prosecute this trial. He was determined that I should take the defense. But what is that he's hoping to make me see, I wonder? How full of shit is the British court judgment system? I get the feeling we're a long way from the end of this trial yet. It's the only beginning. You ready then, Mr. Sato? Yes. Your name of hereby majesty, yeah, blah 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 blah, it's court session again. Assuming the closer court hearing by one says here, President will have signed now then, prosecutor Azagi, my lord, have you some of the witnesses are requested? Yes, those who went to the Red-Headed League will land and carry out deception. They arrived not long ago from the local prison by police carriage. Cool. Very good. Nice. Balif and ushered the two men in the courtroom. Why he's eating pasta? These two men are currently being held by police on the suspicion of attempted extortion. Yeah. Extortion? Okay. I'm gonna omit your occupation, but say your names now for the court. I'm Fabien Derousseau. I don't know. A descendant of the Grey Rousseau family from Nice and France. My name is Peppino De Rossi. What's in my mouth? The third son of the great family De Rossi, the landowners from Napoli. Okay, interesting. The two, he mean Naples for people didn't got it. The one in Italy. The two men first become acquainted at the boarding school of European nobility. So they are supposedly noblemen. Those who graduated from Danzig, the future leaders of the Europe. But you have an idea of borrowing is to be born with noble blood. Alors, making the marmish, the better as a word of employs a little grease self, my brain. What the fuck you just saw? Is that all I'm trying to do, huh? So he's an idiot. That's the only reason for this whole grand deception you will carry out. Oh, well, oui, you say so. Not bad, eh? It's the grind ideas, but petty plans. Okay. This strange combination is a charm on the hilarious brothers. Brothers? See, capo? Capo means boss, by the way. Yeah, me teaching you Italian, yeah? Listen to me, Peppino. I have two things to say to you. Things to you? To say to you? Things to say to you? Che? Are you about to tell me one of your grandi anecdotes? Evviva! Yeah! Grandi anecdotes. Firstly, I want you to stop calling me this capo. And secondly, we are not the hilarious brothers. This is serious business. So one is from Italy, the other one is from French. Che bello! There it is, the capo's trump card, the furrowed bro. This is deep, capo, the furrow, and the meaning of your words. Capo? The court has been led to believe that under the banner of the Red-Headed League, you have conspired to swindle money from unsuspecting members of the public. Is this true? Oui, c'est ça. Ça va? And what exactly was the nature of this deception by which you plan to defraud? Alors, I will explain it. No, capo! Leave it to me! That's a terrible plan. As you see, we both have a vivid red hair. No. At school we were teased for this without pity, especially in England. The capo here, he was many times behind the schoolhouse, crying like a Trevi like the Trevi Fountain. La Fontana di Trevi. Well, those dogs. One day they were with as bad as redheads. Our ginger, soulless ginger. Will I? C'est bien, Peppino. Enough, I will explain the rest. What did he say? Whereas, every night he will bury his head in his pillow and weep for injustice. So they are just common petty people. The first step with the newspaper advertisements. But 1 week before the plan was about to put into operation, we released the same notice in every paper in London. Okay, yes, we saw that notice. The 4 quid. It was this one, I believe, entitled The Red-Headed League. Oui, c'est ça. And my honors, you have seen it? It says the only condition for joining the league is having a flame-colored hair. And that is to you to satisfy the review panel and admit into the league. Oh, okay. That's really easy. You receive a weekly income of £4. On the day specified, red-headed hopefuls gather in droves at a park specifying the advertisement, and from each person present is paid to an application fee of 5 shillings. And with the money to France, it was a plan most elegant, no? No, it was most dishonorable. But to be frank, I understand anybody was foolish enough to be taken by such an obvious trick. 5 shillings! The park was described by one witness as choked with a red-headed fool, like a Costa orange barrow. Huh. We should try this scam. God, please. And the day on which all these men gathered to apply was the day before the victim was discovered. Usually, these 2 men spoke face to face with every single person present that day. Oui. If there are more red-headed people in 1 day than I will be the rest of my life. See, and now every time I see the capo here, I feel sick to my stomach. Anyway, I've been summoned here today. Sorry. The day of our trial was not until tomorrow, I was told. Naturally, neither of these men have been told any details about this trial. They've only been shown this photograph. Really? Very good. Been shown this photograph? Maybe a little bit surprised that someone died. So, Mr. De Russo and Mr. De Rossi, you will now give your formal testimony for the court on the subject of the gentleman pictured in this photograph. Of course, we are always ready to help with the law. Do they know him? Or they never met him? I assume they know him. We had more than 1,000 redhead people assembled in the park on Lime Street the day. Okay. I don't recall the man in this photograph, couple? No, I don't remember. Obviously, he's dead now, but I assure you, he was not in the park. Allora, his victim is nothing to do with us. You have a lot of answer for Peppino. It's your fault that we got caught in the first place. You've given sworn testimony that this man in the photograph was not present. Can you be certain? I'm quite certain. We did not interview these men. Nobody looking like this came to the park. This I can promise. It must be noted that you have been arrested for a grand deception, however. Accordingly, this court has a little confidence in your assurance. Well, they were arrested, but Uffa, with this attitude, we got nowhere, huh? Well, they were arrested by Sholmes, right? He's really assaulting now. So, Gregson wouldn't be really needing to go there if it would already be done, right? This confidential document was obtained directly from Scotland Yard. Record an entry from the Inspector Crowley diary dated the day before the incident. It reads, Lime Street, Redhead League, undercover. I have the answer. Later was another similar event at the park on the day in question, eh? Says the ridiculous. There is no question the Inspector was investigating the Redhead League, which means it's quite possible that's when he was killed. He was killed yesterday, right? Very well, the defense may proceed with the cross-examination now. Oh yes, my lord. Wait a moment. The man in the photograph. Well, Sholmes was in the area, right? That's worrisome. But according to what you said, you spoke with 1,000 or more people in that day. Says the two. My eyes were burning by the end of the today. Of the day? The day? Surely then you can actually remember every single face. How are you so certain? As this particular man wasn't present. Normally the red head is very distinctive, eh? Not when you have 1,000 red heads crowding around. And it's just an eyesore. But if there was some other information you could give us, maybe then we could recall. That's not the line, Peppino. Remember, we do not remember him. We are sure it's a fact, huh? If there was a man with a red earpiece, but his message did not match the color, they do not think I could have forgotten. That's true. Customers say these two had only been shown the photograph and they've been told nothing else at all. That is, if I fed them just one more other detail about his profession, his fish and chips. His fish and chips, for example. I'm certainly appreciate that you just knowing that man had red hair wouldn't help you remembering this situation. But what if he told you that man was always munching on a packet of fish and chips? You remember a man who was eating incessantly? Not really. I was looking only the heads of the applicants. I would have noticed the fish and chips more than the caviar and smoked salmon. Or a spaghetti. Me, I love spaghetti. Really? I had no idea. Tell us again, did you say before, Peppino? See, couple, see! I say it again and again! Could I use the Mario voice? Oh, you even jump like Mario. Incredible. I certainly appreciate that you just knowing the man had the red hair wouldn't help you remember this situation. What if I told you that the man in the red hairpiece was actually a detective? The man is a photograph detective? Yes. It will appear he found out your notice that the paper suspicious and decided to investigate it in incognito. In incognito. Sorry, but they changed nothing.
Excuse me!
Something to add, Mr. De Rossi? Que? Si. Que? Si. I am always adding something parmesan, olive oil, pepper. What I mean is, did you not agree with your friend's last remark by any chance? Eh? What did you just say? About the detective? Yes, that... Keep your mouth shut, Peppino. You have said enough already. Why, Capo? What is the problem? There was a man who said, I am Inspector from Scotland Yard. What? Oh, Lord. Order. Explain his full face in your testimony, witness. A simple man who was... There was no such man. That's worrisome. Do you think that's the man that killed the guy? Madai! Masu! Madai! What are you saying, Capo? You forgot the name? I forgot anything. Nobody likes these came to the park. Basta, Capo, basta! You beat me at many things, but not two. The memory and the meals. Like I said, when it's time to eat the pasta, no one's a pasta. But you are inferior to me in every other way. So shut up. So shut the fuck up. So shut the fuck up. They're all pissed. True part. The damage is done. Indeed it is, sir. There was a man who came in the park and said he was an inspector from Scotland Yard. However, looked nothing like the man in this photograph. It was someone else. How can you be so sure? Because to start with, his face was completely different. See, it's true. The man who came was younger. His face was clean shaven, his eyes were sadder, his chin was thinner. Vigil? No resemblance whatsoever then. Anyway, I was not going to be fooled. I took the obvious precaution and said to him, if you are really a detective, show us the proof. See, the couple here, he doesn't take a nonsense, eh? There was so pretend he said he had identification? Identification? You mean official police inspector identification? That is most unconvincing. Sorry, my lord. Counsel, no incognito inspector will offer his identification for inspection. It's quite out of the question. Yeah, definitely. Why would he suppose his true identity? Clearly the paper were fake. Certo, capo, you are a genius. How we say in Italia, takes the thief to recognize another, eh? And what happened after he announced that he was a detective? Became very annoying and said, you're under investigation, blah blah blah. So I took the papers from him and chased him out of the park. It was fantastico. And look, here's the call identification. You stole from the man? He had it coming. He made us very scared. But he was not who he said he was. Indeed, the person described does not appear to have behaved as true inspector. I really believe it would be prudent for these identification papers to be entered into evidence. Let me guess the Gregson evidence, but I like them. Now, let us return to the witness testimony. So I'm gonna check. Open Sesame! Where's the other place? Open Sesame! I suppose we should see what the expected identification looks like inside. That's 997. Is that Gina? Yes, it definitely looks fake, doesn't it? Out of interest, what name is given? Probably just something plucked out there. It's Tobias Gregson. Wait, what? It's fake? Scotland Yard insignia. That's genuine to me. But how? And the department identification number details are all correct as well. It's when we have you noticed? Do you mean to say? I know it's incredible, but yes, I think this is a genuine identification book issued by Scotland Yard. That's unbelievable. This is the real thing after all.
Objection!
I wonder if I could ask you to examine this identification book very closely. Miss Lestrade? Why, Miss Lestrade? What's your intention here, Counsel? Is this really a fake or a genuine? That's the question, which we can answer.
Objection!
Don't be ridiculous. The Scotland Yard detective will allow his or her identification to be stolen. That is the boss! No question about it! It can be. Well, he's dead, so, as I suspected. The undercover detective was attending to the red-headed League on enrollment on the day in question. Was the real Inspector Gregson carry out an incognito investigation? So the law! Order! But if the boss' identification is stolen, it will be reported straight away. Man, he was always on at me about it. If you lose, I might have reported it once a day, see? Would it be done? The inspector was physically unable to report it. Physically? Aye, what are you saying? Unable to... You are not suggesting that. Yes, it's quite possible that he was killed before he had the chance to report his identification stolen. No! So... did he understand? Order. The defense proceeds that the victim was killed the day before. His body was discovered at a different location. So Francisco wasn't. Do you two have anything to say about that? Where? I don't know it. Where? Pull yourself together, Peppino. Mon Dieu. You can't behave like a little more like a master criminal than Zata. Bueno, I wish I had returned to Italia. Stop crying, Peppino, please. Otherwise, Lumi, stop your whining and start talking. Oh, well. Oh, no. Jesus Christ. But you will tell everything. Or face the worst possible outcome. You will dry your eyes and testify again. About his identification paper and the precise circumstances under which you came by them. I think what they say is correct. Someone else went in Inspector Gregson's stead, for crying out loud. They had no reason to defend him, right? So the question is like, who? The two, we took him prisoner, kept him for the night in our secret hideout. Even though I didn't think it was real detective, I was too scared to let him go that day, just in case. We took the identification from him and shut him down into the next 5 hours. There might have been a little tussle, but we did him no harm, and the next morning we let him go. He spent a night in the nice room, and it was nothing like prison, really. They all look different. This is your treasure. You imprisoned the man? But no, see, no! It was not like a prison. He was very comfortable and calm and happy. Hey, couple? It was never part of my plan, I swear it. Oof, so you think it was all my fault, eh? Just because I got the date and ferry wrong by one little day? I do not think it was your fault, Peppino, I know it. No, per favore, capo, it's not fair. You shall have plenty of time for squabbling back to prison, gentlemen. I don't believe this. How could they be a real detective? Counsel for defense to proceed with the cross-examination. The day before the incident, the person spent the night confined up his hideout. Did he? I feel like it was not him. There's a high chance it was Vigil. That it was going to his stead instead. Maybe as a favor. Who knows? Or maybe Vigil actually killed him. Hold it! What do you mean by a little tussle exactly? It was nothing, just a minor incident. The false inspector was a real piece to work, eh, Capo? What happened? Uffa, he was a disaster. We gave him a nice room. What does he do? Huh? In the middle of the night, he tried to escape through a ventilator. Can you blame him? We chased him beyond shore and he called him again. Can you blame us? Wait, you didn't shot the man in your eyes, did you? Who do you think they are? Of course not. I simply got a hold of him again and took him back to his room. Wait, do you actually shoot him?
Excuse me!
Mr. De Rossi, something wrong? Hey, Me? Did you tie him up? Something Mr. De Rossi just say seemed to make you, well, it seemed to make you act even more strangely than usual. What was all that about? Cavolo. Cavolo! Cavolo is a garbage. It's literally a garbage. Yeah, it means garbage. At a time like that, you don't wanna have a cup after you, believe me. And you speak up from a personal experience. Personal experience? That's enough, Peppino. There's no need to say anymore. The truth is, the night before we put the red-headed league plan into action, I was scared. I was scared. It was not far to the capo, but I tried to run away. What? Can we really manage it? But the capo here, he came after me like a turbine, huh? And he dragged me back to the house, kicking and screaming. I still have the bruise to prove it, eh, capo? Bruce, you say? You wanna see? You wanna see any fantastico Bruce? That's enough of Peppino. Wait, Blue? Huh? Who wants to look at that any part of you? What to do, Show you? Oh, I don't. Oh, show you? Oh, you ain't know that? You do, now. Allora, if Eddie wants to be here, then I do it. Echo, you see? Still very visible, eh? That red ring around your neck. You got that when you were dragged back to the house. See, the couple sometimes. He's very rough. I say that's enough. The Peppino neck is nothing to do with what we are talking about here. You have my word. We already saw something like that, didn't we? What is your opinion, Castle? About this red ring around my son? No, it doesn't matter. It's very important. Mr. Rose, I'm going to have to ask you. Demand your testimony with details about the mark on your neck. Hey, Capo, you see? Everyone is interested in what I say, huh? What did you use? Very well, you will amend your testimony request, Mr. Rose. See, if you really want to know. Objection! So the day before his body was discovered, Inspector Gregson was taken prisoner while working incognito. No, it was not like that. It was out of the prison. It was an invitation to stay. It was homely. Homely. However you describe it, there is a long layer of inconsistency that remains. What inconsistency is this, Counsel? I will ask to the court to look closely at this photograph of the victim, Inspector Gregson. There's no sign. You will see. Though red rings visible around the neck. But that makes no sense. It was me who took the collar off the man in the morning. I saw the red bruise on his neck just like a heave. Even the time mark is still clearly visible on this witness' neck. We expect seeing bruising on the victim who was put in the collar more recently than Mr. De Rossi. Indeed, it was peculiar, but what we tell you, huh? Huh? We say this from the beginning many times. We Peppino is right. The man is a photograph. Is someone different as the man that kept this night? Makes sense. Although det yra. It appeared that on the day before the incident, the man who visited the park on Lime Street posing as an incognito inspector was no Inspector Gregson at all. If that's true, however, how do you explain the inspector identification? This is a genuine identification book issued by Scotland Yard. Is it conceivable that someone could have stolen such an important item from the inspector? The prosecution made the assertion itself. We last note that the inspector has made a note about the Red-Headed League in his diary for that day. It surely means that we can't divorce the two events completely. Because this is noted to be the event is most troubling. Here were the real Inspector Gregson, whom these two red-headed gentlemen encountered. The fact there was no bruising can be seen around his neck defies explanation. But equally, if they actually encountered an inspector, how did that person come in possession of the real inspector identification? Does the defense have some plausible explanation, Counsel? It's not precisely this occasion that we keep meticulous note of the court record, Mr. Naruhodo, because these are facts, and the facts cannot lie. No, the facts can't lie, even when they point to something so incredible, it's almost unbelievable. Well, my lord, the true identity of the person who turned up in the park for the Red-Headed League enrollment is believed by information of the court record, I believe. Oh, good gracious. Very tantalizing, Mr. Naruhodo. So why don't you help us all to see whether the truth it is that you apparently see? Exactly was this inspector, Greg himself, an imposter. Though it seemed incredible, I admit, and the download facts point to only one thing. Since no bruising can be seen on the victim's neck, the person with these two red-headed men took prisoner, then they cannot have been Inspector Gregson. In other words, your whole argument up to now has been a waste of time. On the contrary, I haven't finished. What? There is no bruising on the victim's neck, so the question immediately posed next is, who exactly was this man in the park on the Lime Street found to be carrying Inspector Gregson's identification? See, that's right! They'll tell the same story every time. However, this man was... The cab dragged him home from a pillar to a poster with a dog collare. Collar. Mon Dieu, Peppino, it was not as harsh as you say, huh? So what was there also false inspector, eh? Who was he? Clearly the defense has an idea about that. About the true identity of the man when... true identity of the man that is two imposters than not. Yes, I have an idea. Must ask the counsel for the defense to elaborate cost haste. With the witness encountered the park opposing... I'm assuming it's you.
Take that!
Goodness, isn't that? One of the witnesses who was the scientist very courtroom early today. A nameless man whose only occupation appears to be peddling hearsay into public.
Objection!
What on earth will a straight seller be doing with a police inspector identification papers? Witnesses, is this man or not? What happened to his lip? What happened to his lip? What? See, this man is not the red-headed league, eh? He's looking for the twisted lip league, no? Perhaps rather than making such a rash claim next time, you should buy your lip instead. It seems improbable, yes, but undeniable. Read his testimony earlier. I noticed something around the man's neck, a red ring of bruising. Eh? What? The defense demands that Mr. Gossip be brought back to the stand. They say it's not him, hold on. Bailiff, bring the aforementioned witness back into the courtroom immediately. Just worrisome. Well, I never... And the diamond ring of bruising indeed, and identical to what the witness was reciting. I was quite yeah, eh? I always had these with these meanings, a birthmark, innit? A birthmark, you say? I assume the reason you've been recalled to the stand has been explained to you. Hey, smart about Inspector again. I'll tell you, you got it all wrong as usual. You deny all knowledge of it. Well, of course I am. Are you trying to kill me with all this nonsense, eh? Oh, well, at least you have more stories to peddle back on Fresno Street, won't you? Now, we're going to need you to testify. Are you Mr. DeRouge, Mr. Rusi? Sure you cooperate, won't you? Do we have any choice? Oh, we're big trouble, eh, Capo? Capo. That's quite enough dilatory chatter. Proceed with the testimony. The man was claimed to be unexpected and said they was definitely not this me. So they said both there it's not him. He's right, see? You think we will forget his grand lips, huh? Yeah, I agree with that. I never leave Fresno Street, alright? I'm not interested in any red-haired league. I'm all alone in the world, and I am no kingfolk or nothing. Why would I be involved in something like that? Just look at me. Does it look like I could carry off a disguise with a face like this? Well, certainly appears that we have the wrong man. What have I been telling you, huh? There was no need for the pointless testimony. Right, I'm just a simple peddler, remember? Fresno Street, all I know. How would I have come by? A police inspector in the fish boot, eh? Well, yes, that's hard to explain, but... a brief cross-examination, I think, counsel. Very brief. Is there anyone in this courtroom who thinks I might be on something? I stand steadily at your side as always, Miss Naruhodo. Only have this mark. I think it's Vigil. There are chances it's Vigil? Look at the nose.
Hold it!
So, you're the red-headed league, have you? You don't get a name like Gossip for nothing, huh? It's my business to know what's going on with town. So that testy tidbit of fair few redheads that can't pass me. Just between us, I even got Sanjiv to cover up for it. Well, he does have a very red nose, if that counts. Who knows? As you can see, my own hair's not got a hint of red in it. In any case, Fresno Street my patch. You won't catch me sidling off to some other part of town.
Is that so?
Sidling off the other part of town? No sir, don't like it.
Excuse me!
You know this man, sir? Mr. De Rouge. Si will help you. Did Mr. Gussie words just now lead you to remember something relevant, perhaps? Was the other day when I was looking for a place near the park, a small house or something. With the headquarters of your red-headed league, yes. I visited a housing agent on Lime Street and there was him. The man was paying money to the agent. What? Mr. Gossip with a housing agent? He had some kind of contract in his hand and they were clearly discussing terms. But, no, you're mistaken, chum. I never let Fresno Street me, like I said before. You're mistaking me for someone else, someone with the same face. No, the capo is right, remember it that too. He was paying the man with bank notes. With notes. Like I said, there wasn't me. I was curious why this man with the dirty clothes and has so much money. So I looked at the name on the papers. And what the name was written, Mr. Gossip? No, this is a man, he lies. He tells you that he has no name. But in fact, his name is Hugh Bone. Interesting. It's better than Mr. Gossip's thing, please. No! I'm a peddler of tidbits of information, like I said, on Fresno Street, and that's that. I don't much like a folk talking about my personal life. Indeed. And it's not the intention of the court to invade the privacy of a witness. Very well, I shall respect your wishes, sir. The aforementioned name shall be deducted from all court record this trial, assuming no objection. Assuming? I'm sorry, my lord, but the defense does object. Because the name just mentioned had a very deep significance to this case. Good gracious, you think similar object, prosecutor sorry? It happens, my lord, that particular name has already been mentioned during today's proceedings. Well, I never, in what capacity? You, the name of the leaseholder of the room. Let me put this very simply. The victim's body was discovered in your rented room. I suggest, sir, that you stop talking. Well, alright. I suppose that might be the case, Why was hiding it? So your real name is Hugh Bone? 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 Well, just between us, I don't like to blow my own trumpet, but there is no finer peddler of tidbits in town. So I happen to be able to afford a grubby little room in falling down backstreet townhouse. You do? And once every 6 months I go and pay the rent to the agent on Lime Street. I remember now. There was 2 vulgar redheads in there last time. Hey, the otherwise in vulgar is not a me. Think again, Peppino. Why didn't you bring this up before? It's like I told you already. I don't like talking about my personal life. I'm a tidbit peddler as far as everyone else is concerned. No fuss. You will update your testimony to include this most surprising revelation, Mr. Boney. If I must. So the leaseholder Scotland Yard has been looking for since the body was discovered. Has been here under our noses alone. All alone.
Hold it!
You mean you have no family? No, none at all. So I spend my days on Preston Street battling tidbits with passerby. Hoping just between us is that eventually someone else with lips like mine will come around. I don't think so. You may be right. Anyway, that mark on your neck is just too much of a coincidence for us to ignore. Well, what's the fellow do then? You don't believe me, we are dying past. And there's nothing I can do but to flick my lip. So I'm going to get anywhere here unless I can prove some proof. You're basically saying a lot of dread raise up and pose down some fancy spectra. Well, it's beyond me how you think I could do that. So you live in that room, presumably, do you? No, I don't live there. What do you think? There's no bed in there, just a desk. Then, why would you want to rent it? Well, I don't think I should have to say it, really. Wait, what? And how about the notice board there? Which was covered from top to bottom with confidential documents only the police should have access to. No, that board's not mine. The inspector must have brought it alone. It's only the other bits and bobs that belong to me. The accent is share in that. Oh, people don't really carry an enormous notice board around with them. The real question is, why was Inspector Gregson killed there in your room? Well, obviously, not the faintest idea. I mean, it's causing me no end of bother, to be honest. Seems to me that Mr. Mr. Bowen, rather has as little as know about his room as possible for some reason. Yes, it does come across that way, and more importantly, maybe that the scene of the crime is actually his room completely changes things. In particular, the one part of his testimony that is really bothering me now. That's how I finally going to undo this plan. Alright. If you have no kinkle, as you put it, I totally forgot about this picture. I don't know why. Couldn't think it through. Then explain why is that among the sparse furnishing we found this photograph in the room. I presume as you been renting the room that this photograph belongs to you, does it not? Oh, well. Mr. Bone, drop the pretense and tell the court exactly who you really are. I don't know, what do you mean? I'm a peddler, I keep telling you. You really don't need to bother with me, please. Just leave it alone. As the man says, leave it alone. Whatever the truth is about this man's life has no bearing in this case. Because it's simply not possible that he personated Inspector.
Objection!
How can you be so sure? Just look at the man. No matter this guy could ever hide those unmissable features.
Objection!
But what if we look at this other way around? What do you mean? Yes, Consul, what do you mean? Well, there's no denying that Mr. Boney lip is very prominent indeed. Prominent. Consider the possibility that his prominent lip is itself part of the elaborate disguise. Then hide an prominent feature, in other words, revealing his true face. Will make utterly impenetrable disguise. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Hugh Bone? So he is fake. Witness, are you still hiding the truth from this court? Is that as disguised then? Underneath it, his true identity must be. Yes, that's right. There's only one person they could really be. My lord, the defense believes he can reveal Mr. Bone's true identity to the court. No, please, no. Very well then, Counsel. What is the true identity of this peddler? Go ahead.
Take that!
Your real name is actually Mr. Vigor, isn't it? Mr. Dale Vigor. I don't recall that name, Counsel. Who is this, Mr. Vigor? It's a name encountered yesterday, my lord. Has to do with a certain client of Mr. Sherlock Holmes. A young gentlewoman came to the detective asking him to locate her missing husband. The woman in this photograph, in fact, is Miss Vigor. What? What? From what I understand, from what I understand, you haven't returned home since the night before the inspector was found dead. But of course, on that night you were being held captive by the two red-headed league men. And last night you were but put up by the prosecution service in preparation for testifying this trial, because we've been led to believe that you, Miss Venice, and Mr. Sandwich were all homeless. An important witness in this case, we needed to know where we could find you, of course. And I'd explain why you were not only being unable to return home, but also unable to contact your wife. Was being besides herself with worry, waiting for you at the Vigil residence. Now you just hold a minute. I don't have the first idea what I'm talking about, really. It's a simple enough method to confirm my suspicions. All we have to do is pull off that disguise. No, please. Well, if bring soap, a sponge, and a wash bowl at once, and a knife. Mr. Rosa, you restrained him. I saw. No! Stop! No! 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 Well, we are now seeing your true features, I presume. Oh wow, even well dressed too. Where you were hiding it. Lift your head, sir, so the court can see your face. Your face, son! It will appear that the defense counsel assertion was entirely correct. It has all been a very elaborate deception. So witness, tell the court, have you seen this man before? I don't believe it, but... See! There is no question. This is the inspector we saw in the park. Extraordinary. On the day of the red-headed league enrollment, the man claiming to the Inspector Gregson who appeared before Mr. DeRose and Mr. Rose in the park. Was you disguised as the inspector, or rather, was you posing as the inspector in no disguise at all? That was a bad choice. Mr. Vigil was formerly employed as a chief warder at the Barclay prison. Chief warder? Then your career had promise. Why would you quite possibly have become the future governor of the prison? What on earth you have been doing paddling and diddle-taddle on Fresno Street? Well, it's been 10 years since Mr. Vigil worked at the prison. 10 years? I'm really dreadfully sorry about all of this. I'd be like, how much you know? Yes, it's true, I am Dalai Vigil. And you were the chief warder of Barclay prison 10 years ago. So where did Mr. Hugh Bone come from? Bone is the other me. Then is the name I invented. Well, evidently there is a great deal under the surface here. I'll explain everything. I'll tell you just how wretched my life has become. Wretched. Having left the prison service, I searched for some new occupation by which to earn a wage, but times were hard in London and I found no suitable engagements at all. In desperation, one day I turned my hand at selling wares on Fresno Street. But your wife appears to know nothing of this. She still maintains that you are the chief warder of Barclay prison. I was utterly determined that my wife should not know of my failings, which is why I have never told her. I opened an account at the bank under the name of Hugh Bone, and I rented the cheapest room I could find on Fresno Street. The scene of the very crime we were investigating. Yes, that's right. Rented? A place from which I could emerge every morning at 8 as a squalid peddler. And transform myself back every evening at 5 into a well-dressed man about town before returning home. I quickly became my daily routine. For 10 years. That's impressive. I was puzzled by the lack of furniture in the room, but I explained it. But why on earth didn't you just tell us in the first place? I have a wife, sir, and 2 sons. Without wishing to sound self-conceited, they regarded me with some pride. I couldn't bring myself to disappoint them. So instead you decided to conceal your occupation from them. Yes, made such a terrible mess of everything else. Still, one thing doesn't add up. No matter how many tidbits of information you could sell to passing gentlemen, even at 6 pence a piece, you cannot hope to match the salary you must have commanded as chief warder at the prison. Very true. To have kept your family in comfort despite 10 years of somehow misbegotten employment. That was all thanks to Inspector Gregson. What? Inspector Gregson? What on earth? It was some years after I invented a bony and began my other life as a street seller. He, the inspector, that is, recognized me on the day. Do you mean to say that the victim was an acquaintance of yours? I knew him from my time working at the prison. When he saw what I become, he was deeply troubled for me and my family. And from that day forward, he visited me on Fresno Street with increasing regularity. Then one day, he asked me if I could carry out a secret assignment for him. A secret? What was it? I was to impersonate the Inspector. Really? That's interesting. What? Impersonate him? Impersonate him? That's interesting. We always met in that little room so the Inspector could brief me. Visit Oaksy tomorrow and take the statement from the proprietors. There was always something along those lines, surveillance work, interviewing people. On those occasions, he will lend me his identification so people will believe who I was. My instructions were to make an impression, to let people know that Inspector Gregson had been at work. And for those services, he compensated me financially. A Scotland Yard inspector willing to relinquish his identification to your care and intend to deceive? That, I'm sure I need not point out, is a very serious criminal offense. But why? What was the point of you impersonating him? I truly do not know. All I can say is that the inspector wore me on numerous occasions. Now remember, Vicar, I need your solemn word. You don't blab about this to anyone, alright? Ever. Even if I end up a croaker? Even if I end up a croaker. In time, he started to bring papers with him to the room as well. He became something of a second office for him. So, in fact, the person who declared himself to be Inspector Gregson at the park of Lime Street was really... Yes, it was me, acting on the inspector's orders. As usual, I removed my bony disguise, and then went, as instructed, to the park arm with the inspector identification book. It never occurred to me that the bruises on my neck might give me away. Now I'm really troubled. Okay. So I'm assuming he sent them just to divert attention towards him. Because he was probably investigating another case. I'm assuming the professor case. Well, it will seem this confession completely destroyed the defense's case. Explain yourself, Prosecutor Asogi. My learned friend's assertion was as follows. The victim was killed at another location on the day before his corpse was discovered. At the hands of these two rather League men when they imprisoned the Inspector. Ouch. But no, that can't be. Ouch. After all, it wasn't the Inspector who went to the park that day, it was me. Oh goodness. Finally, we have clarity. We had nothing to do with the murder. There's Inspector. Merci, Monsieur de la Défense, for proving it. What? Ah! Was quite, I don't know, it was quite obvious. Order. Then it would appear that we have reached the de facto conclusion of sorts. His witness have no involvement in the murder of the victim. Proven somehow ironically by the defense. But still, there's so many problems. Hereby call an end to the cross-examination. Sorry, I have to restart the delay. The delay, guys! Cannot record more than an hour or 50 minutes. They just explode. Pardon me, my lord, but with your permission. I would like to pose one further question to the witness. Kazuma? Kazuma? What question, Counsel? It concerns the events of 10 years ago, I believe. You will have been present at a very significant execution that was carried out at the time. 10 years ago? The execution of Professor Genshin Isugi. I want to know exactly what your involvement was. Answer me, man! One moment, Counsel. It is related to the current case. Naturally. Naturally. This, the prosecution believe that this case and the events of 10 years ago are inextricably linked. Does the defense concur, Counsel? Kazuma, you are not yourself, no. You are not as calm as collected as usual. Oh, poor Kazuma. No wonder he's acting this way. What way? Recklessly? Mr. Regal memories of what happened 10 years ago. Without the tale of Genshin Asagi last moments. His own father. I know, I don't understand that, but even so. Kazu, Prosecutor Asagi. You generally believe that this question requires an answer in order to learn the truth behind Inspector Gregson's death. I need you to trust me, please. Very well. Then the defense have no objection. In the case, you will answer the question, witness. The truth is, I remember very little of that time. You've forgotten? I'm sorry to say yes. As I said, I resigned from my role at the prison 10 years ago. But for some peculiar reason, my memory of the events leading up to that moment is extremely hazy. Does not strike you as strange, Mr. Naruhodo? Sorry. Well, 10 years is a long time, but I have forgotten the reason why he left such an important charge. Yes, you're right. Not only that, he was fired. Mr. Vigo's claim contradicts what we already know. The human spirit is a fragile thing. It's broken all too easily, which is why we have a tendency to wrap it up for protection. Sorry? Then the human spirit? I'm afraid I don't understand what you mean. When you experience pain and suffering, you feel unable to bear. We block it out, obliterate our memories, seal it away. But you never truly leave us. If the seal is broken, the memories resurface. Oh, that's painful. And when they do, that fragile spirit may finally be crushed. But I really don't. Kazuma-sama. But if it must be crushed, then so be it, because the truth will not stay buried. It's coming out one way or another. Right, now I understand. It is clear what his intention are. Is it? It means they're supposed to truth at any cost. Kusht. Let's see. Perhaps if I pointed out the contradiction in what Mr. Reed claimed earlier, it might cause some crucial memories to return to him. Should I? I think I should. Do it! Do it! I don't care. I have no idea how this is going to go. But it's court of law, and I have duty to pursue the truth. So he said he resigned. The truth is not that because we know that. I'd like you to look at this. If you remember, we received this dismissal notice.
Take that!
Just a few moments ago, you made a following statement. I resigned from my role at the prison 10 years ago. Yes. In other words, you claim to have left the post of chief warden on your own volition. Well, yes, of course. Why? Tell me. You remember seeing this document before? No, I don't. It's a dismissal notice ordering the immediate termination of a prison staff member employment. A dismissal notice? And the name of the notice is yours, Mr. Biggle. What? It's mine? So you didn't reassign for the prison service at all? For some reason, you were dismissed as a chief warder from Barclay. No, there's been some mistake, I'm sure. I'm sure I tendered my resignation. This dismissal notice is nonsense. Isn't it? If you were forcibly dismissed, there must have been good reason. Clearly, you did something. Mr. Vigil, it's time to break the seal and have you remember. According to the few remaining records, the final execution that you supervised was on the 17th of June 10 years ago. But on that day, something very serious took place on Barclay Prison. 17th of June. Someone wiped his memory? Well, was that the professor execution? Professor? As you were the chief warder at the time, it stands to reason that you will have been presented through the proceedings. It does sound familiar. And yet, the execution never took place. Because he survived. The accompanied obscenely exited early that day later emerged from his grave. And he was shot dead. The convict came back to life? In the cemetery in the middle of the night there was a witness. However, the witness claims that a moment after he saw the convict clamber out of his grave. The guns rang out from over his shoulder. The bullet pierced the professor's chest, killing him instantly. Those may have been the professor's actual last moments. Yes. Seeing as you were in charge of overseeing execution at the time, you must know the truth about what really happened is in your head, somewhere. Deep down. Well, Chief Warder delayed Vigil. Now there's a memories in your head that can explain what happened on the 17th of June, 10 years ago. Now it's time for you to drag them up. I feel like he's going unconscious. Mr. Vigil! Sorry, what? Yes, the whole prison. It was complete chaos. The prisoner escaped. He was killed in the cemetery. The shocking news drove through Barclay like a hurricane. What? Nandeste? Ore! Do you mean to say, Mr. Vigil, that your memories of the time have returned? My head, it's like some floodgates have been opened. The image screams. Oh my goodness. The papers. There were reports, articles about men who'd seen a ghost. Yes, Enoch Draper. But surely those reports were exaggerated. There was traces at the scene. Traces of what? Lowgate Cemetery, plot number 139. Lots of blood. That's where the man was buried, of course. Obviously, something terrible had happened there. The depth of conspiracy and depravity from which these tales emerging are quite staggering. I reviewed the police records from that time extensively. A thorough investigation was conducted by Scotland Yard, thus certain how the convict managed to escape in the first place. And the conclusion reached by the investigating team was that a member of the prison staff must have been involved. Are you suggesting that a prison warden abandoned a man's bid for freedom? Yes, and I was suspected of doing it, of using the mass murder execution as a way to help him escape. You did what? Remember now, the horror of all it coming back to me. One evening a few days after the execution, some detectives came to the prison. I was called to the governor's office at the top of the watchtower. I'm sorry, Dolly. It is serious business, but I cannot help you now. Chief Warder, you were responsible for overseeing the execution of all, eh? Well, it seems the fellow Scotland Yard want to have a few wee words with you about it. You better pack your things, laddie. You have to attend in person. As soon as he told me that, my mind just went completely blank, and the next thing I knew, the professor, the most hated killer in the whole country, history, and I let him escape and finished my life. It's over. Order, Bali, fetch a doctor at once. Close that journal for today with immediate effect.
So, with Mr. Vigil's collapse, proceedings came once again overshadowed by the legacy of that notorious killer, appearing like a cursed ghost ship on a foggy ocean. Lord Van Zeeks, Mr. Vigil, Kazuma, and Gregson. All of them bound by invisible chains anchored to the same wreckage in the murky depths of the past. But the miraculous light that had been trying to cut through the gloom and shine on those tragic events was playing on the edges of the truth at last.
Wow. Do you think that the professor actually managed to escape? To be continued, guys. Like, so the guy that was killed was not really the professor? Or what? But there was definitely a corpse. Assuming that Madame Tuspel didn't really fudge it up, right? So someone... I'm so confused. Like, even if he managed to escape, and they killed them off. So... what was the problem? Why did they have to hide it? I don't know. I guess it was a problem. It is what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the episode. I hope you enjoy. I hope you love it. I hope you whatever. And see you again very, very soon. I apologize for any delay in the videos or when I'm talking. I don't have really control of it. I don't know why it happens. And it happens. I try to correct it if I notice it. But overall, I'm usually quite clumsy to that matter. And see you again. Bye.